You know, I'm hoping your stomach is full because when I started preaching online, I started at 7 o'clock in the evening, and when I'm done, it's past 11 at night. Yeah, I got a long way, mother. Father Yah, Father Yah, allow me to speak your word. Father Yah, make me worthy to speak your message. Father Yah, take away that is not from you. In your word alone is more than enough to your people. Father Yah, make me worthy to speak your name. Make me worthy, Father Yah. Clean my heart, clean my thoughts, that I am worthy to speak your name and your word. All of this I ask, Father Yah, in the mighty name of our Savior, your only begotten Son, Yeshua Mashiach. And for the great name's sake, Father Yah, it is done. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You know, I've been preaching for 22 years. But every time I preach, I'm nervous. As if I'm sitting on a judgment seat. And it is true.
Yes, sir.
You know, every time me and my son preach, we never talk. Because we just want the Spirit to speak in us. And our Father gave my son a message today, and he said, eat. And say, live.
Hallelujah.
So after you eat, after I pronounce you, you live. My lesson says, do you see me now? You see, our daughter Natalie made a strong message last night. He said, I pray that when we come to the sanctuary, we come because it's not a tradition. She said, we come, it's not because it is church.
Come on.
We come not because we want to show ourselves. We come not because Pastor Isaac said it,
Come on.
or me said it, or your parents said it, or it is your comfort way of coming today.
All right.
Here in Congregation of Yahweh, we are not doing that.
Ah.
Though I know a while ago, our musicians entertained us. Oh, we dance and sing. But the real myth during every Shabbat is to see the salvation of Father Yah. Because if we don't see it that way, you come here to church.
Come here, brother.
You just come here because you want to be seen.
All right.
But the reason why we are here is we need to see that there is salvation.
Hallelujah.
There is deliverance. Today, Father gave me a long message. Actually, I printed 3 pages. And I don't know if I can deliver it in 2 or 3 hours. But if I can deliver it, all of it today, Father, you help me, I will deliver it to you. Because this is not my word.
All right.
Because this word convicts me first before I'm about to speak to you. Because in every day of our life, most of the time, we don't see Father Yah eye to eye.
All right.
We just see the way we want to see. We only eat the word that we want to eat. We disregard the other. Because most of the word that you hear or we read, it convicts us.
That's right.
That's why most preachers nowadays twisted the word of Father Yahweh
Come on, brother.
for their own gain. But I can tell you, Pastor has experienced for 40 years, I know he never took anything for himself personally
Hallelujah.
from the coffers of the sanctuary. And I can tell you also the same thing with me. We are doing this because we believe that it is our responsibility for being chosen to speak His word.
Hallelujah.
And since I got it free,
Give it.
give it to you. So today, my brothers and sisters, the question that we're going to answer is, do you see me now? Father, I don't care about what you done yesterday,
Come on, brother.
nor this morning. What He cares is now. Because our salvation is now.
Right now.
Because the moment we get out of these doors, we don't know if that is the last step that we will do.
That's right.
Because the other day I just received a phone call, a relative of mine, telling me that her son died, age 24, next Monday.
Whoa.
So young. And she asked me the question, why, after all the things she had done to keep her son alive, and still die? We don't know anything about tomorrow.
All right.
So your salvation, my salvation, is now. So at the end of this message, I pray that we are going to answer the question if we see Father Yahweh the way He wants us to see.
All right.
Not the way you want to see Him, but the way He wants us
Come
to
on.
see Him. I'll start this message, this story, in the book of 2 Kings. And I know you are familiar with it. If Minister Johnson is here, he will say, I know you know that. It's the story of Elisha. In 2 Kings. You know, I'll give you the background of this story because I am a teacher and I love telling stories. Before I start my lesson, I told him about real life stories in connection with our lesson. So the same thing here. I'll give you the background. Now here comes the setting of this story. In that moment of time, here comes a king trying to subdue and kill all the Israelites. His name is King Aram. In that particular setting in this story, in verse 15, chapter 6, 2 King, Milakim Beth, for my brother Stanley here, starts at verse 15. When King Aram encircled the Israelites, and when the servants wake up that morning and look around him, what happened? He saw the enemies around him. And when he sees that, he trembles. Because verse 15 says, and the servant of the man of Elohim, which is Elisha, rose early and without, and saw an army surrounding the city with horses and chariots. And the servant said to his master, he said, "Oh, master, what do we do?" In our walk of life, sometimes we feel that we are overwhelmed with this life that's so cold. Sometimes we see that our children is acting up. Wife, husband acting up. Finances are low. Your job is not doing right. And as if it's insurmountable for you to take it in, as if you want to throw the towel and say, I'm done. This is what this servant feel. Trembling with fear for his life. Most of the time, we are that servant.
That's right.
Even though our Father said, I will never leave you,
Come on.
nor forsake you, and yet we complain and tremble for the smallest thing that comes in our way.
That's right.
That is true. Because we don't have that faith that we proclaim we have. Saying one thing is different when you're living it.
All right.
But if we are like Elisha, look at what Elisha said. Huh? In verse 16.
Come on.
And Elisha, the servant of the Most High, answered, do not fear.
Come on.
You heard Pastor Isaac so many times that our Master said, our Father in heaven did not give us the spirit of fear.
Hallelujah.
And yet, most of the time in our life, we tremble for these enemies that surrounding us. You know, our daughter Natalie had a revelation last week. First day of school, he was not able to go. And her professor emailed him as if you are not in your wheelchair, you can do things for this class. When Natalie received that, oh, she cried as if, she said, this is my first time that somebody belittles me. She cried. But I said, baby, don't worry about it. Remember, you are the daughter of Father Yahweh. So you know what I told her? I told her, email your professors that these professors are higher than this professor is. She emailed. And I've never seen a professor who put the answer right away in real time, chastise the so-called professor. I've been in LSU for 3 years for my second master's. But I've never seen a real-time professor chastise their own professor.
Come on, brother.
And Natalie's just only a student.
That's right. Hallelujah.
Telling them what this professor did to her
That's
for the
right.
first day of school.
Hallelujah.
And you know what this boss professor said? We will take away your name from this professor and we will give you a subject and you will not going to deal with these professors forever.
Ooh, hallelujah.
And you are going to get the same credit for your major.
Hallelujah.
Not in LSU. But it happens last week. That's the power of Almighty Yah. If you don't know it,
Hallelujah.
Pastor Isaac always says, don't mess with my servants. Because every time we walk in the building,